Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to be looking at the McFarlane DC Multiverse Bloodsport action figure. He's from the upcoming The Suicide Squad film. Bloodsport is played by Idris Elba. Very excited to have these figures before the film comes out. GameStop.com had them in stock. Went and ordered them all, free shipping, a little bit of a sale going on as well. Let's go ahead and take a look at the packaging here. As you can see, 22 moving parts, McFarlane toys, ages 12 plus, DC Multiverse Bloodsport, collect to build King Shark. This is the second of 4 figures. One side of the package, Bloodsport from the Suicide Squad. Other side of the package, symbol says Bloodsport. At the bottom, there's a bunch of credits, and there is a barcode in case that helps anybody. And the back side, here's Bloodsport from the film. Instructions how to build King Shark, and here is the rest of the wave. So with no further ado, let's open him up. And I did end up getting the entire wave of figures from GameStop. They were $24.99 each. A lot of the time GameStop will upcharge. They didn't this time. There was also a sale going on. I paid with shipping and taxes about $96 for these 4 figures. If you do the math, that breaks down to less than $20 a figure if you add King Shark. Pretty cool. Alright, now that we got this figure out of the package, here he is with all of his accessories laid out. He does come with a display stand, a collector's card, and then 2 swords. But before we look at the accessories, let's talk about and check out the actual figure. So this is Bloodsport. His real name is Robert Du Bois. He's played by Idris Elba. I don't know that much about Bloodsport from the comics. I read that he's an expert at guns, in particular using kryptonite bullets for his guns. I believe him to be a Superman rogue. Bloodsport has had a few different personas over the years in the comics. Robert Du Bois is the most recent version. As far as the film goes, I feel like he's a replacement for Deadshot. There's a lot of similarities. The fact that Will Smith didn't come back for the sequel is probably why they brought him in. His costume, not too similar to Deadshot. They both have that sort of hard helmet. They're both big time into guns. They're both black men. They both have a daughter and they're locked up. The daughter's on the outside and Amanda Waller is using the daughter to force him to join the Suicide Squad. So as you can see, there are a lot of similarities. Now as far as his accessories are concerned, he comes with 2 swords. And I'm not even sure if this character is going to use swords at all in the film. He was obviously originally supposed to come with guns, as he has 2 different hands, both have trigger fingers on them. Bloodsport is an expert at guns, but comes with 2 swords. Warner Brothers has this asinine mandate that any officially licensed DC figures from any company will not come with guns anymore. That really does suck. Apparently they think not including guns with action figures is going to stop school shootings or something. In all reality, Warner Brothers is just pretending to care to appease to some people. I really hope that doesn't prevent McFarlane from making characters like Deadshot. I noticed the unmasked Red Hood doesn't come with his pistols. Very, very annoying and disappointing, especially when you're aiming at adult collectibles. So let's take a look at this guy. So looking at his helmet here, it looks very nice, smooth at the top. The bottom, it resembles a skull. You can see his teeth, almost has sort of a muscle looking area in his cheek there. It looks sick. The sculpt is fantastic. He looks very similar to the modern Bloodsport in the comics. He's got his armored outfit down here. I really like the detail. The orange, the blue, complement each other very nicely. Going further down, it looks like double jointed elbows, double jointed knees. The detail is just pretty nice on him. It looks like in the film he's going to wear his mask off for most of the movie, but I really like the way he looks with his mask on. And then, just a closer look at his face. I really like that helmet. And then, there is also going to be a variant version of Bloodsport. It's a Walmart exclusive, and it's going to be an unmasked version. Looking forward to that, as he seems to have that look for the majority of the film. Now let's take a look at his accessories, and let's start with the boring stuff. Here's his display stand. Typical McFarlane stand, black perfect circle, has a DC logo at the bottom. It's got 1 peg for the peg holes on his feet. Very thin, very basic. Now let's look at his collector's card. Here's Bloodsport from the film. He's got his mask off. You can see Bloodsport from The Suicide Squad On the back side, there's a little description. If you want to read it, go ahead and pause now. Now let's look at his swords. He comes with 2 of them. The blade, nothing really special going on there. Then we got the handle, it's gold. A little bit of sculpting where he's going to grip it. Overall, some very inappropriate accessories for Bloodsport. Here he is, holding both of his swords. Bloodsport here is an expert at all kind of weapons, not just guns, but guns are his specialty. I saw someone make a post at the Foosh forums. They posted a picture similar to this and said, "I put his guns into his hands, did I do it right?" Showing his swords into the trigger finger, just making fun of the fact that they didn't come with guns. So I decided to supply my own guns. Peacemaker here has to have some guns. I got a couple pistols for my McFarlane Fortnite line, and this larger gun at the bottom, it's from a NECA Predator Machiko figure. And I've seen a lot of people posting, "I'm not going to buy these figures, they don't have any guns, I'm not going to support this." Well, keep in mind, it is not McFarlane's fault these guys don't have guns. McFarlane obviously had these figures including guns originally and were forced to change this as production went on. If it were up to me, they would come with guns, but it's not up to me. So if it's a choice between getting the figure with no guns or not getting these figures at all, I'm definitely going to choose getting the figures with no guns. I have plenty of guns myself and can add them to the figure. And I'm very happy we finally got a Bloodsport, a Peacemaker, and a Polka Dot Man. 3 brand new DC characters. Hopefully this isn't going to influence McFarlane too much moving forward. But for example, Deadshot, if they can't make a gun with him, they're probably not even going to bother making a Deadshot, and that just sucks. Here's Bloodsport holding these 2 pistols. Maybe one of them even has a kryptonite bullet. And here's Bloodsport holding this larger weapon. In the film, his gun was very unique. Looked kind of like this, but it had sort of 4 straight things sticking out of the front, and it would spin around. I would love to customize a gun like that for him, but it seems a little more trouble than it's worth. Now that we've taken a pretty good look at both the figure, his accessories, and some other accessories you can use to enhance his figure, now let's check out his height. From bottom to the top of his head, he's sitting at about 7.25 inches tall, which you can translate to about 18.5 centimeters. Now let's check out his articulation. Start with his head here. Of course, it can rotate from side to side. It can look up and down about that far. It can tilt his head from one side to the other, give him a good amount of personality. Shoulders on a ball joint goes up about 90 degrees, up, down, around, all that good stuff. He does have a butterfly joint between his shoulder and chest area, just increases the range of motion here. Bicep cut below that. Double jointed elbows below that. His wrist here, they can rotate, and it's going to be hinged as well. His torso here, it's got the soft goods overlay. You can see I can kind of press it in. I believe he has the double ball joints like all the other McFarlane figures. I can't really tell. I think there's one here, but even if there is, you can't use it very much. Definitely has one in his waist. Rotate around, go forward and back. Legs, completely does the splits. He's got this sort of diaper crotch area, very soft, not going to interfere with much. Not a ball joint, but a similar type idea. Rotation is minimal, almost not there. Legs go forward about that far. They go back about that far. He's got double jointed knees below that. And then his ankle here, he can go forward and back. Doesn't have too much range there. His sort of shin area blocks that. Can rotate, can tilt and rock, and he has toe articulation. Here's Bloodsport running through a crumbling building, aiming his weapon, just like in the trailer. And just a closer look at Bloodsport holding his weapon. And I always wanted to see these 2 guys in action together. It'll probably never happen, but hopefully Bloodsport survives the movie, so there's at least a glimmer of hope that possibly he and Deadshot will make an appearance together. Here he is, next to a Mafex movie Suicide Squad Deadshot figure. This is the largest movie Suicide Squad Deadshot figure that anyone has made. He's still a little bit too short to go with the McFarlane figures, but not that far off. I did crouch Bloodsport a little bit extra for this shot. Here's King Shark and the team of figures from the Suicide Squad. So far, McFarlane has given us these 5 figures. There has been no announcement or any tease about any further figures, but there's about 16 more characters they can make from this film. I really hope they trickle a few more out at least. Now let's check them out, compared with some of their action figures, starting off with some of their McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Here he is, next to the rest of the regular figures from the Suicide Squad wave. And let's add King Shark to the mix. I know we're getting some variants of Peacemaker, King Shark, and Bloodsport, but I would love it if they give us more characters, even if they trickle them out as singles down the road in the future waves. I'd love to see Rick Flag, Captain Boomerang, Ratcatcher, frankly, every single possible villain they have in the film I would love to get a figure for. And then they can go back and do the first film as well. Then, next to some of the heroes from Zack Snyder's Justice League, you can see how these guys scale up next to each other. He's actually from the same cinematic world as them, the DC Cinematic Universe. In the trailer, it mentioned that he had shot Superman with a kryptonite bullet, putting Superman in the ICU. So, he'd be a great villain to pair up against Superman here. And in my action figure world, he's going to be pairing up against Batman. I'm going to throw him with all my Bat Rogues. Here he is, next to all the figures I have from the Zack Snyder's Justice League collection, still looking to complete this line. And here are the figures from Wonder Woman 1984, also from the DC Cinematic Universe. Then, next to an Arrow figure, Arrow is the only live-action McFarlane figure that's not from the DC Cinematic Universe. He's from TV's Arrowverse. The next figures that are not going to be from the DC Cinematic Universe are going to be from the Batman. Here he is, next to Deathstroke. They share a lot of similarities. Now let's check him out, next to some Deadshot figures. Here he is, with the Mafex Deadshot figure, both of them together in a vanilla pose. Then, next to the SH Figure Arts Deadshot. And here, next to the Mattel Multiverse Deadshot figure. Then, next to all of my Deadshot 6 and 7 inch action figures. Here's a McFarlane Bloodsport, next to a McFarlane Bloodspot. Bloodspot's from a recently released film. He's another character I thought, as soon as I heard they were making a Bloodsport figure. Here's Bloodshot, Bloodsport, and Deadshot all together. Here are 3 different cinematic versions of these killing machines. And let's check them out, next to a couple of other Idris Elba figures. Here he is with his character from Dark Tower. This is Roland. This is from Diamond Select Toys, or DST. And from what I've seen online, this Dark Tower head is actually better than the McFarlane The Suicide Squad head for this guy. So, in case you're curious, here's that head on this body. Then, next to a custom version of his character from Prometheus, Janik. I made this guy years ago. Here's Bloodsport, next to Mattel's version of the Suicide Squad team from the first film. Now let's check him out, next to some action figures from different various companies, to see how he fits in both scale and style-wise, in case you don't know which lines you can mix him with. Since he's a McFarlane figure, they're typically the 7-inch scale. I'm going to start off with comparisons with some of the larger action figure lines I collect, and work my way smaller. Here he is, with some of his McFarlane Toys brothers. In front of you are 5 different action figure lines, all from McFarlane Toys, all 7-inch scale. Then, next to some more McFarlane Toys. These ones are from different various video game properties. And now, next to some Jakks Pacific wrestling figures. And here he is, next to some DST, or Diamond Select Toys. Then, next to some DC Direct and DC Collectibles figures. And here, next to some NECA figures. Then, next to some Mattel wrestling figures. And now, next to some Jazzwares AEW wrestling figures. And here he is, next to some Mezco 1/12 cloth soft goods action figures. Then, next to some Mattel DC Universe Classics and Multiverse figures. And here, next to some Mafex figures. Then, next to some Hasbro Marvel Legends. And here he is, next to some SH Figure Arts action figures. And finally, next to some Jazzwares Fortnite figures. So overall, this is a great figure. This is what it's all about for me, getting brand new DC characters, never released before in action figure form. There are 3 of them in the Suicide Squad wave. We've got Bloodsport, Polka Dot Man, and Peacemaker. This guy's articulation is good, everything you'd expect from a McFarlane DC Multiverse figure. The sculpt and paint job are excellent, I see no issues. The accessories are complete trash, but it's not McFarlane's fault. Overall, if I were to rate this guy, I'm going to give an 8.5 out of 10, but I'm going to drop that down to an 8 out of 10 because of the accessories. Also, I want to point out his mask is fantastic. It looks sick. I love it. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Keep an eye out for the rest of the Suicide Squad Wave videos. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I will talk to you guys real soon.